Welcome back Year 7s, and we are into our next video tutorial. This is the one we're looking at exercise 11G. Now this is where we get fun stuff. Makes you think, composite shapes. Okay, basically what a composite shape is, and I'll read this little section here. The areas of more complicated shapes can be found by dividing them up into more simple shapes such as the rectangle and triangle. Doesn't really say what a composite shape is. Composite shape is basically what it does, in a way, if you read between the lines. Composite shapes basically are made up of different shapes. Okay, so if we have a look here at this this picture over here, this one's made up of different rectangles. Okay, or you could say it is a rectangle that's had some rectangles or squares cut out of it. Okay, here you've got a shape that if you split it up, okay, can be a rectangle and a triangle. Alright, same here, and most of the ones, because I've only looked at area of rectangles and triangles, most of these, or all of these, will be made up of rectangles and triangles. So again, rectangle, triangle, here, rectangle, triangle. Okay, down the track, Year 8s, Year 9s, you might actually get, shapes with circles cut out, or might look something like that cut out of it. Or you might get something, oops, hang on, I'll go back again on that one. Or you might get something like that cut out of it. Okay, and so that's what they call composite shapes. So it's made up of different types of shapes, okay, and put together to form what you sort of have there. Okay, so that's what a composite shape is. So to solve these, again, it requires a little bit of brain work and a little bit of planning about how you approach the problem. It is a matter of separating it up into different shapes and finding the area of each shape, and then either adding or subtracting your answers to get your answer, your final answer. Okay, all right, so composite shapes are made up of more than one simple shape, okay, which I just went over. So the area of composite shapes can be made up by adding or subtracting the areas of simple shapes, which is what I just said. So if we've got here, for example, this one, we split it up, we've got a square and a triangle. So to find the area, you'd find the area of the square, find the area of the triangle, and then you would add the two together. Okay, I don't know if that really makes sense. So you'd find your square, your triangle, add those together, and then you'd get your final answer. This one, we've got a rectangle. Okay, we've actually got a full rectangle there. Well, we don't actually have one, but we've had this corner cut out of it. All right, so again, you'd find, for me, for this question, I would actually find the area of the full rectangle. Okay, then I'd find the area of, so find the area of the rectangle, then I'd find the area of the triangle, and to find the total area, I'd actually subtract that area, as it says there, subtract. I'd subtract that triangle area away from the rectangle area to get my final answer. Okay, so these aren't overly difficult, but you do have to look at them and plan about what you have to do. Plan what, so you're gonna have to do more than one calculation for each one. All right, so here, like I said, you're gonna have to do 1, 2, 3 calculations all up by the time you add them together. Same here. Work that out, work your triangle out, and then do a subtraction to get your answer. So you have to do multiple things to get your answer. So let's have a look at this first question. Okay, so find the area of these composite shapes. Okay, so straight away I'm looking at it and I'm looking, well, I've got this little section here. I can make that into a not a rectangle, a triangle. So I've got a rectangle here and I've got a triangle here. Okay, so straight away I can look at this and go, well, I want my rectangle. Now I've got to be careful what measurements I use, because this, if I said, for example, to find my area of this rectangle first, so area, actually I won't call it an A, I'm going to call it an R. So we're going to find the area of the rectangle first, which is length times width. If I put 12 in, multiplied by, what's my width? 5. I am not on the right track. Why aren't I on the right track? Okay, hopefully you're saying, well, Mr. O'Donnell, if this is your rectangle here, where I've just drawn, this 12 actually extends way out to here. Okay, so I can't use that length. So I actually have to make sure I use the right length for each of the shapes that I create. Okay, so, sorry, I'm just going to get rid of that and get rid of that. So my rectangle, which is here that I'm tracing over again, my length is 9, My width is 5. So 9 times 5 gives me 45 meters squared. Okay, so now I've found the area of my rectangle here, and now I've got to find my area of my triangle. Okay, so for my triangle, remember it's base times height divided by 2 to find an area of a triangle. Okay, now my base, what's my base length? Alright, so we've got to work out what my base length is because I don't have it. So I know that from there to there is 12. So if there to there is 9, so from here to here, or here to here is 9, what do I need to add to make up to 12? 3. So that must be 3 meters, this little section in here. So my base is 3. My height, because it's a right angled triangle, is this length. And what is this length? Well, I can get that from this side, which is here. So 5 meters is that length. So 3 times 5 divided by 2. This is going to get a little bit tricky because it's going to be a decimal. So 3 times 5 is 15. Divide that by 2, which equals, what is it, 7.5 meters squared. So to get my total area, I now have to take my 45, sorry, just done a bit of a mind blank there. So I've got my 45, and I've got to add this area, so 7.5 onto that. So 45 plus 7.5, which is 52.5 meters. Yep, that's my units squared. Okay, there we go. And that's your answer. All right, so 52.5. So I do one calculation, two calculations, and then my overall calculation to get my final answer. Okay, so that's the way you've got to go about it. All right, now I have to delete all this. So if you need to replay this one, come back to it because I haven't got enough room to answer this question here. So sorry, I'm just going to delete all this stuff really sort of quickly. We'll just go back to here. All right, so hopefully that makes sense to you. All right, so now as I get rid of all my colouring of that rectangle. Okay, so now I'm going to look at question B here. All right, so again, I'm looking at what shape have I got here? Okay, so this is telling me that all these side lengths are the same, so I'm looking at a triangle. Oh, I'm struggling. We're looking at a square, so we've got a square here. Okay, so all my side lengths are 6 centimeters. So I'm going to find the area of this square. Okay, and I've also got a triangle sitting in here. Okay, and that's been taken away from the square. So let's calculate the square. So I'm going to calculate all of that area as if that was a complete square at this point. Okay, just want to get rid of that because I don't want it there in a minute. All right, so I'm going to calculate that as an entire square at this point. Okay, so my area of a square, which is length squared, or length times length, which is 6. So 6 squared, which equals 36 centimeters squared. Okay, now what I want to do here, I've got my triangle. So what's my base of my triangle is sitting here because I've got a height already sitting in there, which is 4. So my base has got to be equal here, so it's part of the square. So my base is 6. So my triangle equals base, and you've got to write the formulas for everything that you use here. It's really important you actually write the formulas. Don't just start writing numbers in. My base is 6. My height is 4. I'm going to divide that by 2. So 6 times 4 is 24. Divide that by 2, which is 12 centimeters squared. Okay, now I want to find my my final answer. So my final answer is this shape here. Okay, so it is basically the square with the rectangle taken away. So that's what I do. I've got to subtract this answer from this answer. Okay, now I'm going to have to work up the top here, but normally you'd work underneath here. So my area total equals my 36 minus the 12. So my total area is going to be 24 centimeters squared. And that's not a very good M. Okay, so 24 centimeters squared. Okay, and that's how you do it. So you look at the shapes that you've got, calculate the area of each of those shapes, even shapes that are actually missing. There's still a shape in there that I need to calculate because I've got to take that away. You can imagine that's a full square and that triangle has been taken out of there. All right, so it's still a shape. You need to work out that area. Then you decide, well, do I need to add my answers or subtract my answers? Okay, so a little bit of work involved, but these are good because it makes you think a little bit. Okay, now if we look at this problem, I'm not going to actually do this problem, all right, but what sort of shapes can you break it up into? Okay, so straight away I'm drawing a line there and I'm drawing a line through there. So I've got rectangle 1 here, rectangle 2 there, and I've got my triangle. So I've got to work out 3 areas and then add all them together. So there'd be 1, 2, 3, 4 calculations in total that I've got to do. Okay, compared to these guys where I did 3. 1, 2, and 3. So calculated my square, calculated my triangle, got my total. Here I've got to calculate this rectangle, then calculate this rectangle, then calculate this triangle, and then add them all together in this particular case. All right. Okay, so that is how you approach composite shapes, and that's what composite shapes are. Like I said, these ones are actually good for you to get a start on because down the track you will be looking at areas of circles and stuff, and you'll get more complicated shapes like this, and all sorts of stuff. But they are fun. Get you thinking, get you working stuff out, and makes you feel proud when you can work this type of stuff out. Yeah, I've got complete faith in you guys. You can get this stuff done. Just approach it logically, think about it, use those smart little brains that you've got, identify your shapes, then work out whether you add or subtract, and away you go. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Good luck. Get into it. See you later.